Hey guys, I just wanted to go over a few things to help you complete your Among Us task faster. At the start of every Among Us game, you're greeted with a screen telling you to be quiet, followed by a screen showing if you're a crewmate or an imposter. If you click anywhere on your screen during the first animation, you're actually able to skip straight to the second one, which allows you to gain vision of your screen earlier than everyone else in the game. Here's a side-by-side comparison to show how big of a difference this makes. In addition to being able to skip the first animation, you're also able to move during these animations. Unfortunately for mobile users, this will only work if you're playing the PC version of the game. To demonstrate this, take a look at this clip and listen for the sound of my character walking, as well as seeing how far I am able to travel before I'm even able to see the game. Combining this with the other technique we just talked about, you can see just how far we are able to move away from the starting area as well as gaining earlier vision. At the very start of the game, the first thing you want to do is take a quick look at your tasks. This is going to help you roughly plan out the order in which you want to complete them. This isn't going to be the fastest method in every case, but I'm going to do my best to describe the most common scenarios that appear. A few of the common things you want to look for when you first glance at your taskbar is, do I have a download task? Do I have any divert the power tasks? And where does my wiring task begin? Your goal when planning out your task route is to minimize the number of times you have to enter each room. Because of this, you want to try and combine certain tasks together. A common example of this is on the Skeld, where you have a download task as well as the ID card swipe. A common thing most players will do will be to complete their card swipe right away, but in doing so, they have to return to admin a second time to complete both tasks. To save time and complete your task quicker, you should complete your download first. That way, when you do eventually go into admin, you're able to complete both uploading and the swipe card one after another, saving you a lot of time. Here's a comparison between a route most players would take and an optimized route. The other most common scenario is when you have to divert power to somewhere, and this is what makes electrical the best place to go at the very start. Usually you'll have at least one task in electrical, which is why it is always a good idea to head there first so that you are able to divert the power and get what other tasks you have there out of the way. When it comes to wiring, the only time you will have it in electrical is if it's the first step. This means that you won't ever have to worry about revisiting electrical after you've completed your tasks there. Besides sabotages, wiring is the biggest thing that can impact your task route when planning, as it is randomized to an extent. There's a set amount of permutations that you can encounter. Taking this into account can affect your routing. Because of this, you just have to plan it out as best you can. It's worth taking a second to look at some of the possible combinations, as the certain bits of information can be really useful to know when planning. For instance, on the Skeld, the wiring in electrical can only ever be at the start, so if it doesn't start there, you don't have to worry about having to double back to electrical later if you go there at the start of the game. On Polus, there is an 80% chance of the wiring ending in the lab area, which may be something to consider when you have other lab tasks. This area is generally best left until last for another reason, which we'll go into in just a second. Wiring can also cause problems on maps such as Mirror HQ, as there is a chance your wiring begins in storage, which is quite far from the spawn area, and also has a 60% chance of ending in the lab area. This means if you go straight to the reactor room to divert power early on, you may have to come back for wiring later, so in this situation, I recommend starting the wiring as early into the game as you can. This leads into my next point. Take note of what tasks are near the meeting area, as this can save you a lot of walking time. If you notice that you have tasks near the meeting area, such as weapons or checking the weather on the balcony of Mirror, or the trash or vending machine in the cafe, you can usually save these until later into the round, as when a meeting is called, you will automatically be teleported there, which saves you walking down there manually. On Polus, it is fairly common to have a task at one of the 6 weather nodes placed around the map. This task will always require you to go to the lab after, which, similarly to the previously discussed ones, means you should leave the rest of your lab tasks until after you have completed your weather node task. To save time searching around, try memorizing the position of the weather nodes. You can refer to this map if you want to give this a go. Alternatively, you can check your map during the game by either clicking on the map icon in the top right or pressing the tab key if you're on PC, and you will be able to see the location of your weather node, along with all of the other tasks. While we're on the topic of memorization, when aligning the telescope on Polus, if you memorize the position of each object, you are able to go directly to it rather than searching around for it. Alternatively, you can just reference this image. When performing a task, you're able to click on the X, press the escape key, or click somewhere outside of the task to close it. Time this correctly when you complete a task, and you're able to clear it off of your screen earlier, allowing you to freely move. Here's a comparison showing the difference. But be careful, as you are able to press it too early and the task won't register as complete, and you'll look suspicious when you have to redo the task after making a fool of yourself. After becoming familiar with the tasks on each map, you should be able to get a feel for where the buttons are that you need to press once you begin a task. Try positioning your mouse over where you think you need to press before even arriving at the task. This will allow you to save a few precious moments and help you complete your task faster. You can complete the trash task much faster if you pull down on the lever before the leaves touch the bottom of the chute, as they will just flow straight through without having to stop first. When aligning the engines on the Skeld, it will always begin at the top engine. After aligning the engine, quickly tap on the same place again and it will automatically complete the lower engine as well. Only stand as close to a task as you need to. Some tasks don't require you to be as close as you think. Here's an example of completing shields from across the railing. This tip might seem like a silly one, but people tend to press the reactor buttons quite slow. You can actually press them as fast as you want. When calibrating the distributor on the Skeld, be prepared for the first one to avoid having to wait for it to circle back around. If you memorize all of your tasks, even when communications is sabotaged, you'll still be able to continue completing them. When completing the medbay sample inspections on the Skeld or Polus, rebooting the Wi-Fi or running launch diagnostics, don't be this guy. You don't need to wait for the timer, simply start the task and come back when it's complete. It also doesn't matter too much when you start the task, as the timer for these tasks actually goes down during meetings as well, so usually if you started at any point during the round, it will be ready by the time the next meeting is over. Planning out your tasks not only helps you complete all of them faster, but it also helps you remember what exactly you did during the round and in what order, so the next time someone calls you sus and asks where you were, you can let them know exactly what you did and why. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys do to speed up completing your tasks, and feel free to leave any video suggestions on what other content you would like to see.